Live, and we are here for you every day, 3:30 p.m. Mountain Time, orange and blue today. Cecil, Lammey, hope to be joined by Andrew Mason in just a little bit. Of course, we have Nathaniel Hackett's press conference. Got to talk to Happy Fun Baby Start, of course, and have to do it right at 3:30. Thanks, Coach. Anyway, so yeah, they're wrapping up the Nathaniel Hackett press conference. There are going to be some player Zoom calls today. We'll see if Mace can jump on today. If not, then I am here, and there's plenty to say with this Broncos team. I'm going to try to emphasize the positive. There's not a lot, but I, for one, am really sick of the negative commentary about this team. Like it's a lost season. It seems like that's the way it's going to be. And whereas we had a flicker of hope, like maybe, just maybe, they could do something after the bye, that hope was dashed. It was dashed by the Tennessee Titans trying to give the game away. Honestly, there were several times throughout that Tennessee contest, I was like, oh my God, like Denver shouldn't be in this one. But Tennessee kept trying to hand the ball back to Denver. It's just their offense is so inept. It didn't matter if they got the ball back over a turnover. It didn't matter, if you had any sort of defensive play to help out your team or to get the ball back to you, any sort of turnover, unless it's a pick six. Listen, this defense is all-time great defense for the Broncos. And up there, of course, obviously it's not going to replace 2015 or whatever, but you're looking at a very historic defense, and you're looking at an offense that is historically bad as well. So Tennessee, in trying to give that game back, it was just like, man, Denver, you're going to screw up your chances. You're going to screw up every chance you have. The whole Malik Willis thing when he came in and fumbled on that exchange with Derrick Henry, it's like just the ball's right there. Like, do something. Your defense did it for you. Now reward them with better play. So I am going to complain about this team. I'm going to try to keep it to a minimum because at the end of the day, is that all we are really going to do? We could sit here and be like Grandpa Simpson and shake our fists at the cloud. Yeah, we can do that all day. Do we really want to do that? No. I mean, I don't. I would rather talk about what needs to be fixed, how it can be fixed, and what do you do moving forward. Now, in this game against Tennessee, there were some positives. Again, not a ton, but there were some to see out there. I'm going to talk about them on today's program. And then again, just kind of do a game recap today. The problems are larger than just the Tennessee game. The problems are, as I wrote in Mile High Monday today at denverfan.com, the problems are a Nathaniel Hackett problem, honestly. Like, he's their largest problem. He's not their only problem. And it doesn't let Russell Wilson off the hook or whatever. Like, I think fans are just all ate up right now on both sides of the fence, the aisle, whatever you want to say, because if I say you have a Nathaniel Hackett problem, I have 10 people respond, well, Russell Wilson sucks. Oh, okay. If I say Russell Wilson needs to play better, then I have 10 people say, you just hate him. I'm like, no, I might be the only Russell Wilson defender on the fan. I just know that he's a cheese ball. He's a cornball, and that's the way he's going to be. It's not fake. It's just him. He's not relatable. He needs to be more relatable. And on the field, he needs to make faster decisions with the ball. Part of that's play design. Part of that's the language of this offense. So I'm not going to let Russell Wilson, out of it or off the hook or whatever. I'm not going to just pass over what Russell Wilson needs to do, but largely it starts at the top. It's Nathaniel Hackett. Nathaniel Hackett is the problem with the Denver Broncos. And in a close game, we all knew it would be close. We all knew it would be low scoring. We'd hoped we'd seen some things. There was an article I wrote, denverfan.com, about 3 changes we need to see coming out of the bye. One of them was tempo. We barely saw that. I think it was for like a snap. It might have been 2 snaps where they used tempo as a weapon against Tennessee. I'm like, okay, that was working. You didn't use it. Better special teams play. I don't think we saw that. Is anyone defending Montreal Washington? Right? And I'm not going to be the guy that brings up Isaiah Pacheco every show, although I just did. But Montreal Washington wasn't a good pick. Doesn't mean he's not a good player, but in the 5th round, you don't take Montreal Washington. In the 7th round, I don't even think you take Montreal Washington. You take him undrafted. Your undrafted guy that you should have drafted in the 5th round was Jalen Virgil. Because Jalen Virgil, as we saw in that 66-yard touchdown, one of the positives for the Broncos, one of the lone positives for the Broncos was the play of Jalen Virgil. That kid is a freak athletically. He's an incredible player who I had felt would be a good day 3 pick. That's where I had him graded. So you take him in the 5th round, you get Montreal undrafted. Okay, whatever. But they just handed the job in return man to Montreal Washington. He's not good at it. He's quick and he's explosive. Yeah, the physical stuff's easy to see. It's so dumb when people are like, but he's explosive. Yes. And so is Jalen Virgil. And Jalen Virgil makes better decisions. Like Jalen Virgil should be the return man. He had 2 return touchdowns last year for App State, top of my head, in addition to being a receiving weapon. So you can just do more with a player like Jalen Virgil. So Jalen Virgil was one of those positives. Like, I want to see more of that. I want to see more of the explosive plays. And that play, by the way, it was against cover 0, and it was on an audible from Russell Wilson. Hey, Russ, should probably do that more, because Russell Wilson's head is swimming in the Nathaniel Hackett offense, which just isn't working. It's not working for Russ. It doesn't mean it won't eventually, as we've chronicled on this show and on other shows, at least hopefully. When Aaron Rodgers got in the Matt LaFleur system, the same system, Shanahan system, Aaron Rodgers struggled for about a year, and then he was back-to-back MVP. Speaking of MVPs, when Matt Ryan first got under Kyle Shanahan in his version of this offense, Matt Ryan fought him, so much so that I thought there would be an Arthur Blank ownership stepping in to either tell Kyle to change things or to just be different. But it took Matt Ryan listening to Kyle Shanahan. The next thing you know, what do you know? He's an MVP. So I'm not saying that that's going to happen for Russell Wilson. He obviously needs to be faster. He needs to be better with his decisions, and we need to see that from him. But this team's got a lot of things to get to. Andrew Mason joining us now. It is Orange and Blue today. Mace, welcome into the program, buddy. I hope you're staying warm out there, because it's not warm today.
Well, I mean, I got the jacket on, so hopefully I'm good for this. And I'm prepared. And you sipping some hot chocolate or something, some hot tea, because I could probably use a little of that. Out here right now. But hey, it looks beautiful, right? I mean, you see the Colorado blue skies out here at UC Health Training Center. It looks lovely. It's not. It's anything but for the Broncos. But you know, it's a nice Colorado November day. I'll take it.
What did you take away from Nathaniel Hackett's press conference today?
I mean, you know, just there's obviously the stuff about the injuries. I mean, they really do feel like they avoid something significant on Jerry Jeudy, and so that's a positive sign. I expect that Justin Simmons, I think he didn't come up, but I expect he's going to play. Sounds like Cam Fleming might play this game. Sounds like even Graham Glasgow. They're hoping, that was the word Nathaniel Hackett said, they're hoping Glasgow is day-to-day. But I do, at the same time, think that if Glasgow can't go, the fact that Luke Wattenberg would actually get the snaps in practice would ensure that it doesn't look the way it did yesterday, with some of the poor timing on snaps and just him and Russell Wilson not appearing to be on the same page. That's understandable, just given that Wattenberg wasn't out there. But definitely, I mean, he got the question from Sean Keeler of the Denver Post about whether he's coaching for his job. And his response was he feels like he's coaching for his job every day. So it was one of those kind of, you know, non-answer.
How about you're not coaching for your job every day? You know what I mean? Like, how about that?
You think Bill Belichick coaches for his job every day? I mean, you think Andy Reid is coaching for his job every day? I mean, you know, but he doesn't have any hand right now at this point. I mean, that you're 3-6. You're an offensive coach, and your offense is dead last in the league in scoring. You know, it continues to plumb the depths of Broncos history. It's not only the worst offense in terms of scoring points, cataclysmically bad in the third quarter. They've only scored 12 third quarter points all year, and 2 of them were on a safety. I mean, it's you know, it's the same. It's kind of the same stuff every week at this point, right?
Yeah, 1 third quarter touchdown all season long, and I had expected some changes coming out of the bye, and that's where the disappointment and the frustration comes in. The Wattenberg thing, like when Reisner's yelling at him, I'm just like, okay, you know, Dalton's trying, but he's a rookie. He didn't get any time with him. He didn't get no time, right? No time with Russ. Snaps are going to be off. Like, I'm not even mad at Wattenberg, but I'm still mad at Hackett because, damn it, the line's 18. If they'd scored 18 points, they'd be 8-1. But, like, this isn't a bad team. they're just not performing and producing, and they didn't change. Well, did they change anything, honestly, coming out of the bye?
I mean, they one thing that he did say was, they of course came out early in the game, and you and I talked about how you got to establish the run, right? Well, of course they came out in 3 wide, and the rationale was, as he said today, was that they thought that if they could spread things out, they would keep themselves out of third and longs and be able to make those third downs manageable. Well, of course, that didn't work the way they wanted it to. It actually worked decently at the beginning of the game on third down. I think they were 4 for their first 8, and then they went 0 for their last 9. I think in fixating on third down, though, they're
it's the wrong down. They need to fixate on first down. They're 27th in the league. I wrote this in Mile High Monday, I think. They're 27th in the league on first down. They average 4.7 a play on first down. Not even 5 yards. They're the 27th team in the league. So when Hackett's talking about third down after the game, I'm like, these 3rd and 13s and 3rd and 9s don't matter. Your first downs need to be better.
Yeah, and what's a way to get better on first down? Get the run game going and then establish play action passing after that. Hello? Right? Then you can, because then those play action passes become lethal on first down and second down as well if you're able to get things going on the ground and establish your presence there. Right now, there's no reason for anybody to take the Broncos seriously on the ground. By the way, you saw with the Steelers having some explosive runs yesterday. The Broncos now are the only team in the league that does not have a single 20-yard run this year. Think about that for a moment. And, it's certainly losing Javonte Williams didn't help, but in 3.5 games that he played, he didn't have a 20-yard run either. So it's, I asked Nathaniel Hackett the question. It was kind of an obvious one, but I asked him, how did you see this? Did you see anything like this, like how it turned out? And obviously he said not. I felt like I just wanted to that was one of those things where you wanted to kind of get the response on the record a little bit. And, but at the same time, here you're more than halfway through the season now. The excuses, the reasons, we're learning the offense, this and that, the cohesion, chemistry, it's got to click. Okay, that's no longer an excuse, right? You went up against a team that by the time they announced their inactives yesterday was down 5 defensive starters. 5, okay? It's a good defense, but they were down nearly half of their lineup, including arguably their best single player in Jeffrey Simmons. Mm-hmm. And you got 10 points, and if not for a single explosive play on a coverage bust, you would have gotten nothing. You would have gotten a field goal, and that was it in this game. I mean, it's inexcusable. And
Tennessee did everything they could to hand him the game. Mace, before you came on, I was saying that. I was like, Tennessee and the Malik Willis thing and just these punts, and like Tennessee was just like, here you go. And Denver couldn't do anything with it. So fumble recovery, unless they're getting pick sixes or scooping scores, like every effort the defense makes, you don't pay it back because your offense can't do a thing.
Yeah, it's like what, the defense has to score touchdowns, I guess. But that's not exactly the most reliable thing, right? I mean, as terrific as this Broncos defense has been, they haven't scored a touchdown. And actually, if there is one disappointing thing on this defense, it's that they haven't had as many takeaways as you'd like. Kareem Jackson yesterday has an interception in his hands and can't bring it in. Of course, on the flip side, the Broncos were lucky that Russell Wilson didn't get picked off a couple of times because of drop picks. I mean, like that play before Brandon McManus's field goal, the pass to the end zone. What are you doing there? I mean, why are you? Ball. Yeah, you don't play hero ball when you've got 3 sure points on the scoreboard. I know you and I probably both criticize Drew Lock for that when he did it. Remember the Charger game a couple of years ago? Yep. When he just tries to jam it, he rolls out, he tries to jam it in there when you've got a sure 3 points, and turns out that those were costly in a 3-point loss. And so we have to criticize Russell Wilson for that as well. It's just and he can't make those kinds of decisions, and the fact that he's making these decisions in this offense, I think, then leads to the obvious question of, okay, is this just the wrong thing for him.
Yes, because on the Jalen Virgil play, which I talked about, Mace, guess what it was? It was a Russell Wilson audible. Saw something, he changed it. It was cover zero. He changed it. He got the play that he wanted. And like you and I have said on this show, Russ, do that more. If this is uncomfortable for you to run, and obviously it's uncomfortable for him, the language, whatever, like mentally he's slower. And Russell Wilson is a damn smart quarterback. Russell Wilson, I still believe, can be a damn good quarterback. But something in this offense is slowing his brain down. Okay, the hitches aren't correct for his feet, and that's not on him. That's the design of the offense. But when he changes a play and it's a 66-yard touchdown, my brain goes, hey, Russ, just do that more.
Yeah, trust your instincts. Look, I mean, I put it out there on Twitter about an hour or so ago. I mean, he's not only below his worst season in Seattle, but substantially below. I mean, you look at his passer rating, you look at his ESPN QBR, you look at his completion percentage, and most of them are all in the same range. And then you get to Denver. I don't think Russell Wilson suddenly got bad overnight.
Right.
I think then when you look at the outlier, you say, okay, what caused this? And that's why, unless there is some substantial change in how things go over the next several weeks, I do think you're probably looking at a coaching change, and in particular, looking at maybe turning back to somebody that Russell Wilson has worked well with. If the Broncos do move on from Nathaniel Hackett, put it this way, I would not be surprised if Brian Schottenheimer is their offensive coordinator.
Okay, there we go. It's orange and blue today, and Cecil, Lammey, Andrew Mason. Positives, man. Nick Bonito held up against the run, man. He chased down the run on the backside. He did a good job of turning plays inside of him. Like, again, we got a lot to talk about and what needs to be fixed, but just reacting to the game and thinking positively, I liked what Nick Bonito showed.
I like what Benito showed. I liked Ejiro Evero using Draymond Jones as a stand-up on the edge. I mean, it's not necessarily the thing that he's best at, but when you are trying to get your best complement of players out there, especially when you're going against Derrick Henry and you're stacking the box, I like that. I mean, the Titans were confused by what Evero threw at them. I mean, I know everyone's. I'm a little frustrated about the prevent on most of that 2-minute drive.
Right.
The cover zero that on the touchdown, that doesn't bother me. Kareem Jackson's got to take care of business. Okay. I mean, he's a team captain. He's a 13-year veteran. You got to be able to trust him. And ultimately that's on him. Everyone else did their job. So honestly, like I thought most of the game was a masterclass from Ejiro Evero in how to adapt. There's the other thing that comes into play when you look at the offense versus the defense is that both sides are shredded with injuries, right?
Yes.
On defense, guys come in and they're put in position to succeed. I mean, unfortunately, PJ Locke gets in the collision with Damari Mathis, but PJ Locke had a pretty solid game yesterday in his first NFL start. Damari Mathis has gotten better progressively with every start. We saw what Alex Singleton did filling in. We see Matt Henningsen continuing to flash when he gets some snaps. So you see guys come in and they deliver. They get better, and then on the offense, when guys are pushed out there, they, on the offensive line, they struggle. I mean, I'll tip the cap to Kendall Hinton. I think he did a very good job yesterday. I would like to see more of Kendall Hinton going forward. I would like to see more of Jalen Virgil going forward. But on the offensive line, Quinn Bailey, I mean, he was not thrown into a great situation, but the Titans went right at him. He struggled to find his footing. Calvin Anderson really struggled. I mean, that it's kind of hard to watch Anderson at this point.
Yeah, I think his confidence was shaken this entire offseason, and I think he needs better coaching because Butch Berry's not a good offensive line coach. I've got no qualm saying that. You can't be a yeller and expect to be a teacher. You can't expect these veterans to look at you and listen to you when you behave that way as a coach. Plus, just look at the results. It's a results-based business. What offensive lineman has improved under Butch Berry? None of them at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that Quinn Miners has improved. I think he's just kind of held steady. The hamstring injury didn't help. Graham Glasgow, I think, has done fine when he's been asked to play, especially at center.
Yeah.
Not so much at guard, at center. But Graham Glasgow's a vet, okay? A vet isn't leaning so much on being coached up. Glasgow's a pro. He knows what he's doing. You put him out there at center, he's going to be reliable. Just that's who he is. So
yeah, that's who he is, and that's what this team needs to focus on is how to get better up front, how to turn this offense around. You mentioned Jalen Virgil. Both you and I enjoy his game. Explosive young man. Do you think he gets because Dwayne Stukes won't talk until Wednesday, I think.
Thursday.
Do you think that Jalen Virgil will get an opportunity as a return man? Because for me, Mason, I know they called it a competition.
Yeah.
But they handed Montreal Washington that job, and the kid doesn't deserve it. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be the guy that brings up Isaiah Pacheco, but like he's not playing good football. Maybe Jalen Virgil, who had 2 return touchdowns last year for App State, maybe he could be an answer.
Maybe. I mean, maybe you find a way to get him out there. I mean, obviously Montreal, he is making very cautious decisions, but that cautious decision yesterday on the first Ryan Stonehouse punt led to the Broncos starting back at their 4-yard line.
Right.
If you trusted him more to try to field that ball, then you're not maybe in that kind of situation that you're in right now. So if you don't trust him to go field certain punts, then maybe you do need to try somebody else back there. I mean, the other thing I kind of look at like how they use the receivers. I mean, we saw a lot of Jalen Virgil early, right? We see him.
He was on the field when they came out. That's why I tweeted at the very first snap. I was like, hey, Jalen Virgil's out there.
Okay. Why am I looking at the receiver packages as the game goes on and seeing more Tyree Cleveland than Jalen Virgil?
Right. And Cleveland was messing up, and I like Tyree. But Tyree was messing up. And Jalen wasn't doing that. So I don't. And the personnel, one thing I was going to ask you, and I don't mean to be mean. I don't want to sound personal because it's not personal. But does Nathaniel Hackett understand personnel? Because they're on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, and Chase Edmonds is back there. Like, come on. If I'm a defender, I'm like, well, he ain't getting it because he's 110 pounds. Or what? I know Chase is bigger than that. But Chase Edmonds is not a pile pusher. Why is Chase Edmonds in on 3rd and 1? Where's Latavius Murray? Why this emphasis on Melvin Gordon, who did fumble, by the way? And everyone's like, oh, no, it's saved. The ref saved him. I don't care. No, it's another fumble.
The ball was coming out. He got it back. I don't think that was a fumble because by the time he was falling to the ground, he had possession of it.
Do you feel good when Melvin Gordon touches the ball? Because I don't. We can argue about the fumble, no fumble, but I'll tell you this. Every time he touches the ball,
he's still very tight. He's still thinking about fumbling too much. And unfortunately, that's taken when he's thinking about that means the fight for extra yards is a little bit different because instead he's focusing on protecting the ball rather than stretching out. Like one of the things about Melvin Gordon that made him a really good back for the last 7 years was that he would get that extra 2 or 3 yards. So the fight for that and now in the wake of all these fumbles, it's basically been you got to protect the ball or that's going to be it. So it's a different Melvin Gordon than the one that established his name and was one of the most consistent running backs in football. Although, I did like them getting him involved in the passing game there. I like I thought, he had a nice catch there on the last drive that eventually stalled in the red zone. But, he's not the same Melvin Gordon as he has been because he's very focused on protecting the ball, which unfortunately has kind of forced him away from what kind of makes him special as a running back.
Yeah, he's very tentative now, and for me, it's like just see Marlon Mack, I guess. At least the Jerry Jeudy thing wasn't Achilles, because when they said back ankle injury, how often have you ever heard of it's in the back of his ankle? I'm like, oh, that's his Achilles. So thank God it wasn't that.
It's what everyone thought it was when he pointed to that and the way he went down. And then the thing that I think was the biggest tell, even though he took the cart back, was when he was walking off the field. If you rupture your Achilles, you can't put any weight on it. He had some assistance, but he was putting weight on it when he left the field. And so that was kind of the first sign that said, all right, this is probably not as bad as we think it is. It'll probably be very touch and go for him to be ready by next Sunday. You don't want to force him back. Kind of the bigger concern right now, injury-wise, is Billy Turner and K'Wan Williams.
Yeah. He's on IR right now, right?
Yeah, I don't know if he's officially gone IR yet, but he's considered week to week, and so you're talking about a 4-week injury. So I would imagine that may end up being the call to put him on IR. K1 was playing great, and K1 was playing great with a cast on his.
Yeah, when he missed that
wrist.
one tackle and people were chirping, I was like, no. I mean, he's got a freaking club on his arm, so he's not going to bring that guy down.
Yeah, I mean,
Mike Kliss is saying he's expected to be put on IR. That's
the question is, will Billy Turner go on IR because he too is also week to week?
When's Tom Compton coming back to save the day?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to need him. It appears that way, because I would imagine that once Cam Fleming gets back, if Tom Compton is ready, that your tackles are probably going to be Cam Fleming and Tom Compton.
As bad as it sounds, Mace, I don't feel bad about that.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds terrible to be like, I'm okay with Cam Fleming and Tom Compton, but damn it, it's not being good out there. So if it's Fleming on the left and Compton on the right, I can handle. And veterans like Graham Glasgow, veterans who won't be rattled by Butch Berry the Yeller.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let it go until they fire him, dude. He's probably the worst coach on the staff.
Are you surprised that there hasn't been at least like one move, like one move on the staff, or one guy getting cut for a mistake? Are you surprised that there hasn't been any of that yet?
Yeah, I am, honestly. Would they count the one move they did bringing the Baltimore guy? I always forget his
Jerry
name.
Rosberg,
yeah. So does that count as a move? Like, hey, we added somebody. Like
that, adding somebody, but not like. But I'm talking about like the negative consequences for struggling. That's the thing. Yeah. I mean, I'm a little surprised that there hasn't been something that just to kind of.
If they lose to Josh McDaniels, there will be something. You can't lose to Josh McDaniels. He's losing to Jeff Saturday, okay? Yeah. And the Saturday, we didn't really talk about that. I kind of wish we would, because the Saturday thing's like a slap in the face to the league. But hey, Saturday got it done, right?
Saturday got it done, but the guy I'm really going to give credit to is Parks Frazier, their offensive assistant, who became the play caller yesterday, and then they put Matt Ryan back in because that Colts offense all of a sudden looked a little bit more dynamic. Frazier's a fairly young, up-and-coming coach. And I think what they did was a lot more the guy that's actually been on the staff all year getting elevated than the guy that they brought in from the television booth.
Right. Mesa,
or studio. I'm actually fine. I mean,
you got the Eddie Bauer coat, man. You're good.
Oh, these are good coats, man. And I've got, and I'm layered as well. I've got a jacket, like a sweatsuit jacket. I've got a shirt on underneath, and I got the hat on. See, that's the key. The key is the hat.
Oh, there's so much temperature at the top of your head, man.
Right. I had a flat cap on yesterday. Nate Jackson was complimenting me on it when I was on Players Club this morning. The hat is beyond essential for making this work at this time of year and doing things outside. I don't know how anybody can go out and do a stand up for extended period. Or actually, I'm sitting down right now, but can do something for an extended period without a hat on. I mean, I think that's.
Well, and Colorado cold's different than Wisconsin cold.
Oh, I'll tell you, Colorado cold is different than Nashville, Tennessee cold.
Right.
It felt much colder in Nashville than it does right now. Like I went out on Saturday night, and I felt very thankful that the line at Hattie B's did not stretch outside the door, because it was pretty cold
Hattie
there
B's.
And then I went over to Edley's Barbecue on Sunday night, which is another really good spot. And
my stomach is jealous of your stomach.
Yeah, but I'm kind of taking it easy though. Like I went for, with my surgery recently, I went for the grilled chicken tenders, mild spice over at Hattie B's.
Yes.
And then I had the smoked turkey breast over at Edley's. By the way,
then you had a tryptophan nap.
Actually, no. I guess I didn't succumb to that.
Powered through.
Yeah, I powered through. I felt great after that. But by the way, the one thing for me, I found that at a lot of great barbecue restaurants, the hidden gem is smoked turkey breast. Like,
Interesting.
I know there are people that moan about Thanksgiving. They say turkey's not that great. I say, well, you know what? You got to have that turkey deep fried or smoked, because once you go deep fried or smoked on the turkey, it changes your life.
We're here to change lives.
Yeah, and then turkey becomes the money bird. I'm telling you, smoked turkey. I'm gonna find a way, even though I don't really have a smoker in my apartment. I'm going to find a way to get myself some smoked turkey and get it ready for Thanksgiving. Even though I'm just
come out to the
here.
mountain, baby. I got the Traeger in the backyard on the side of a mountain.
Oh man, yeah. My Traeger's in Wisconsin. Unfortunately, when I was back in Wisconsin, about a week and a half ago, and I was looking at that baby in the garage, and I'm like, yes.
Turkey is the money bird, and
Yeah.
bird is the word, and Nathaniel Hackett is Happy Fun Baby Star. He's Andrew Mason. You follow him on Twitter at Mace Denver. I am at Cecil Lammey. It's Orange and Blue today, every day, 3:30. Love the response. Thank you all for reaching out. We just want to talk the X's and O's. We want to stay as positive as possible. We're not going to do the stupid, shock jock like Russ got fat on Cabo. Like, no, I don't care about that. One, he didn't. Two, what's going on with the football team? That's what we're here for you. He's Andrew Mason. I'm Cecil Lammey. Until then, be safe, be kind, know that you're appreciated. Stay tuned, and please stay frosty.